Rahim. So in the previous class we were discussing about international markets, and in that we were discussing about international money market. In that we discussed then when you will borrow funds, you will borrow funds in that currency which will depreciate against your currency. Now we will talk about corporations and institutions who may want to invest in different countries. There are some corporations who want to invest their money in foreign countries. So they should invest in those currencies which will appreciate against their currency. Why? Suppose there is a company in Afghanistan, they have extra funds. They have money and they want to invest that money. So for them, USA will be the best option. Why? $1 today, it is equal to 80 Afghanis. But companies are expecting that again Afghanis will depreciate and dollar will become strong. Now this company here in Afghanistan, they have 80 lakh Afghanis. They have this extra fund. Now they want to invest it. Suppose they want to make a portfolio investment. They want to invest in bonds in USA. So first what will they do? They will convert their currency to dollars. So it will become $100,000. $100,000. Now they will invest here in USA. They invest that money in bonds, suppose, and these bonds are paying 8% interest. Suppose short-term bond, commercial papers or whatever, and they are paying 8% interest. Suppose, okay. Now after 1 year, what happened? Again, dollar is equal to 90 Afghanis. Now what will happen? Their investment is in dollars. Now they want to move that investment back to Afghanistan. $100,000. They will convert it to Afghanis. So $100,000 multiplied by 90. So they will get 90 lakh Afghanis. So see, they invested 80 lakh Afghanis. Now, after 1 year, they are receiving 90 lakh Afghanis. So in exchange rate, they earn 10 lakh Afghanis. This 10 lakh Afghanis, they only earn this money in exchange rate. And 8% profit, that was 1 lakh multiplied by 8%, so it becomes $8,000. And when you will multiply it with the exchange rate, that is 90, so it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 eights are 72. 7,20,000. So 10 lakh profit was in exchange rate and 7,20,000. This profit is in investment, that is the interest that this investment earned, 7,20,000. So the total profit, it becomes 17,20,000. So if you will invest in a currency that will appreciate against your home currency, you will earn much more profit. But if you will invest in that country whose currency will depreciate, so then you will be in losses. So for investment, these are two rules. When you will take loan, when you will borrow money, you will borrow in that country whose currency will depreciate. But when you invest your money, you will invest in that country whose currency will appreciate. MNC based in UK can deposit their surplus cash in USA, as dollar will appreciate against UK pound and will help in recovering low interest rates. See, MNC based in UK, United Kingdom, can deposit their surplus cash in USA. They will deposit that money in USA as dollar will appreciate. When dollar will appreciate, their profit will increase. Just like the case of Afghanistan, we discussed that case in the previous 1 or 2 minutes. History of international money market. Here is another market that is called European market or Euro currency market. Shortly, it is also called Euro dollars. First of all, what is that? What is Euro currency? What is Euro dollars? Basically, before 1960s and 1970s, what was the concept? Suppose this is Afghanistan. The banks here in Afghanistan, they were accepting only Afghanis. Means when they were keeping your money, when they were depositing your money in an account, so they were accepting only Afghanis. After 1970s, 60s, mostly in 1970s, but starts in 60s, what happened that the banks in Afghanistan, they were accepting foreign currency, means they were accepting dollars, they were accepting euros, they were accepting pounds, yen, each and every currency, kaldar, whatever currency you want to deposit with bank, they will open that account for you. It can be dollar account, it can be euro account, it can be pounds account, it can be kaldar account. I told you before 1960s, they were the banks in Afghanistan, they were only accepting Afghanis. They were not accepting any dollars, euros, pounds, anything else. They were just accepting deposits in the local currency. But what happened after 1960s, that the banks in Europe, basically, the banks here in Europe, they were accepting dollars. You know, in Europe, Germany, their local currency was German mark. France, their local currency was French franc, and other European countries, each of them, they have their own currency. So all of them, they have their own currency and they were accepting deposits only in their local currency. But after 1960s, what happened? Banks in Europe, they were accepting dollars. A new concept that banks start accepting foreign deposits. So now see here. Emerged in 1960s and 70s, US dollar was widely used by many countries as a medium of exchange. The use of dollar, it was too much. As a medium of exchange, they were using dollars. MNC expanded their operations, and multinational companies, they expanded their operations. Corporations deposited US dollar in European banks. See, in Europe, they were depositing dollars. Previously, there was no concept of this. They were only European banks, they were only accepting their home currency, which was openly accepted by European banks. And European banks, they openly start accepting these currencies. These deposits, and in Europe and other continent, come to known as euro dollars. And any country, when accepting foreign deposits, that deposit will be called euro dollars. I told you here. In Afghanistan, if they accept deposits in Kaldar, that will be called euro dollars. If they accept yen, it will be called euro dollars. Not only dollar, that they are accepting dollars, so it will be called euro dollars. No, any foreign currency, if local bank will accept any foreign currency, that will be called euro dollars. While market for the euro dollar came to known as European euro currency market, and that market for these foreign deposits will be called euro currency market. OPEC, you know about OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Oil revenues were deposited in other countries in order to generate revenues. Mostly these OPEC countries, when they are selling their oil, so they were accepting any currency, whatever that. Oil revenues were deposited in other countries. Mostly this was in dollars. This trade of oil, this was in dollars. So what happened, that they were accepting these dollars and they were depositing it. Oil revenues were deposited in other countries. They were depositing this money in foreign countries in order to generate revenues, means to earn interest on that money. This came to known as petrodollar, and this money that these OPEC countries, this revenue that OPEC countries were generating, they were depositing it in foreign countries. This came to known as petrodollars. Okay, so we discussed about international money market. Now we are going to discuss international credit market. MNC have access to medium-term loans through banks in foreign markets. Nowadays, multinational companies in foreign countries, they have access to funds in foreign countries through banks, because these are multinational companies, well known, they have good reputation. So banks everywhere in any country, they are willing to give them loan of 1 year or longer time period by the banks to MNC in Europe is called as Euro credit or Euro credit loan. And in Europe, if a bank is giving loan to an MNC, that loan will be called Euro credit loan or Euro credit, while the market is known as Euro credit market. Loan can be denominated in dollars and in any other currency. This loan can be in dollars, this loan can be in euros, this loan can be in pounds, in any currency this loan can be. But the maturity will be 5 years, not more than 5 years. Keep in mind one thing, that multinational companies, suppose that multinational company is from USA, so they have their operations in Europe, they have their operation in Afghanistan, they have their operations in, suppose, any other country, Australia. So they have operations in different countries. In these countries there are banks, here and here are banks. These banks are willing to give loans to these multinational companies because of their reputation, because of their goodwill. They are willing to give loans to them, and the loans whose maturity is more than 1 year and less than 5 years, that loan will be called Euro credit loan or Euro credit. Simple as that. And keep in mind, this loan, the company is US companies, and they are working in Europe. So here they can take loan in any currency. It can be in dollars, it can be in pounds, it can be in euros, it can be any currency. The bank will arrange that currency for them. Floating rate loans were offered by the banks, which were adjusted after each 6 months with a benchmark rate. Keep in mind, nowadays there is a floating rate interest. What does it mean? Suppose the interest rate is 10%. So for 1 year it is 10%, maybe the next year it becomes 12%. Maybe the next year it becomes 14%. Means the interest rate will change. This interest rate is called floating interest rate. And this will change against a benchmark. Benchmark means standard. Suppose in Europe, the T-bill, suppose that standard is T-bill. The interest rate on T-bills. Suppose interest rate on T-bills in 2016, it was 4%. So the interest was how much? 10%. Suppose it changes to 6% in 2017. So see, the interest rate increases 4 to 6. So here the interest rate will increase from 10% to 12%. Suppose in 2018 the T-bill rate changes to 8%, means T-bill rate is increasing. So again this interest rate will also increase by 2%. So if there is a change in that benchmark rate, interest rate will change. If there is increase in that benchmark rate, this interest rate will also increase, the bank interest rate. If that benchmark rate will decrease, suppose from 8% it comes down to 6%, so interest rate will also come down from 14 to 12%. And if it further decreases from 6% to 4%, so that standard rate will also come down from 12% to 10%. So these interests, these rates, these were called what? Floating rate loans were offered by banks, which were adjusted after each 6 months with benchmark rate. Means that standard benchmark rate, they will check after 6 months, they will check the T-bill rate. We took the benchmark as T-bill. So they will check the T-bill rate after each 6 months. If there is a change in that T-bill rate, so the bank interest rate will also change. Eurobor, what is Eurobor? Basically interbank lending and borrowing between European nations. Basically the banks, when they are taking loans, the banks in Europe, this is Europe, there are different banks here in Europe, when they are taking loans from each other, so that will be called Eurobor. The mobile battery is down, so inshallah in the next class then we will discuss about international credit market further, international bond market and international equity market. Okay, assalamu alaikum, have a good time.